Okay, my dear friends, what a night. Tonight, ostensibly, is a very important issue here, which I want to bring up. Then we'll talk about the other stuff too. But I want people to understand and grasp something. As you know, the most important thing is for us to be able to teach a new generation of conspirators, those individuals who know specifically how horrible and how terrible the world is, and how horrible and how awful and how terrible the government has been, and how the government has been used as the strong arm element of the bad guys. If you're big pharma, if you're big this, big that, whatever your particular thing is, you use the government to force it. Say you got some particular medication you like. Say you've got some form of, I don't know, some crazy kind of, what's the word? Some kind of something you want to push on people. You don't want to go through the usual fair market stuff. You know, you don't want them to consider whether they need this or not. No. We want to order them. We want to order them to have this. We would use a full faith and power of the government to force it, because the government is the strong arm. The government is the Luca Brasi. The government is what does that. We'll talk about that. And I tell people all the time, and I use Operation Northwoods and others as one of the best tutorials of what happens. Because now, for example, there seems to be, at least on the part of Twitter, certain interest in the 11th day of the 9th month of 23 rather years ago. And it's like, if you understand what Northwoods was, declassified, a lot of this stuff will make sense to you. Does that make any sense? I hope so. I hope so. Mm-hmm. By the way, people are saying, where do I get this fancy, great mug? Right below. Right below. Oh, it's a beaut. Be the first on your it's elegant. Elegant's my name. We'll talk about that. Congratulations to Sean Hannity. Bless his heart. He and Ainsley are going to tie the knot. One time I was at a wedding for my cousin. I said, many more. I wasn't paying attention. I said, everybody deserves to be happy. He does too. It is that simple. Don't know the first thing. Also, you heard the news where Don Jr., Donnie brought the socialite to the family Christmas Day. Oh, God. Oh, man. Woo. Kimberly ain't going to like that. Watch what happens. Watch her move in. She's going to want to get married. Have that kid right away. And remember this. Remember this. And all I'm going to tell you is this. And I hope you can handle it. Keep an eye on Elon, Donnie. Keep an eye on Elon. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Because of the family, the smartest, most stable of the group is Eric. Eric is the most legit, the most solid, the most... Ivanka, gone. She's gone. She's in another la la land. Look at me. One day they're going to tell her, you've had so much work. We just can't. We can't do this anymore. There's nothing left. Stop it. We can't do it. That's that. Don Jr., this guy's all over the place. He's a... Look, I don't know him. I don't know. Would you really want to know these people? No. Let me ask you a very simple question. I'm going to ask you a very simple question, and you don't have to ask it. With the except, just forget everybody. Forget everybody. Forget what they did. Forget who they are. Forget their wealth or their position or their whatever it is. Is there anybody in the Trump family where you would say, you know what, I really want to know these people. I think I would like to be like a neighbor and hang around and bum around and watch TV with and shoot pool and drink beer and have a ball. Remember that? Miss Emily's picture. John Conley. Is there anybody you would? Would you want? It's hard to say. I'm finding throughout my life that the richer, the more powerful, the more famous, the more base they are. I really don't want to have anything to do with a lot of these people. They're not my friends. They're there to do one thing, to make America America again. James Wood said it best. Make America America again. Not great again. Make America America again. It is that simple. And I mean it. There's something to be said for that. Because what you and I understand to be true is not what they understand to be true. I mean, let's face it. If you sat around at that table, now be honest with me. Be honest. I'm asking you to be honest. For the love of God, please be honest. If you sat around that table and you said, look, Mr. President, are you ever going to do anything to perhaps either declassify or open or revisit the events that happened on the 11th day of the 9th month, 23 years ago? They would look at you and they would say, what are you talking about? Would you like to? What do you mean? The whole group. Maybe Trump might. Maybe Trump might. I think Elon will know. I think Joe Rogan knows. I don't think any of those people know. I think they've been living in a world that's been, Don's off to going to Spain with this socialite. And by the way, there's one thing all of those women know. All of them. Melania, Lara, the other one, they know a gold digger, and they know their radar, Ivanka, they're going to know exactly, especially when you have Donnie Jr. there. You know it and I know it. I mean, come on. So it's like, good luck with this one. They're going to say, you can do another. You didn't learn your lesson after Kimberly, did you? What the hell's the matter with you? What's the matter with you? What are you, stupid? Another thing, too. I want to say this, and it's none of my business. Mr. President, you're a good man. I like you a lot. Do me a favor. You know that little girl, Kai? Keep her out of the headlines. She's 15 years old. Be 15. Keep her out of that. Okay? Let her be a kid. Don't show her off. Don't glam her up. Don't do it. I'm telling you. Do me a favor. Just keep. I don't know how many kids there are, but somehow they said, "Oh, she was great. She was great at the." Okay, that's fine. She's a kid. Say thank you. Goodbye. If that were my kid, you wouldn't even see her. Say what you want about the Obamas. You never saw the daughters. Never. And during the Bush, never saw the daughters. Never. Even during Gerald Ford. Remember Susan Ford? She was kind of a wild child. Keep them out of the way. Amy Carter, Michigan Amy Carter, but she was, I don't understand this. I don't get it. Obama had, and Michelle had Michelle's mother, I believe, live at the White House. She kept an eye on those girls. It's very important to keep them balanced. Now I don't know anything about them. I don't know if they're, but whatever. They're adults who can do whatever they want to do. But make sure you keep. And that little girl, and the young girl, she's got her mother. She got their very 5 kids. Then Don goes to this one with that thing, Kimberly. And then this one, the socialite. It's like, what are you going on? What is this? What do you teach your kid? What do you teach your kid about? This is your dad? What is he doing? What are you doing? What are you, a boy? Little boy just chasing around? Grow up, be a man, settle down, and shut up. Come on, act. I mean, just, come on. Can you not read this? Don't, please, Donnie, tell me, you think this socialite likes you for your mind and your spirit? Come on. Look, that's why, just do me a favor. Make America America again. Do a good job, Mr. President. As far as the rest of your family, just keep them out of the way. Just let Don Jr. go and shoot his guns and kill animals and whatever you want to do. That's fine with me. Go ahead and do it. I dig it. But please, stop it. Pilgrim says, is Kimberly a lugubrious mess? We don't know. Local Coco, don't know. She might be local, but I don't know about whether she's lugubrious or funereal or crying or if she's lacrimating or lachrymose. I have no idea. All I know is at that particular level. Oh, and then did you see the other day? This Lauren Sanchez shows up. Oh my God, with Bezos. Let me tell you something. And I think maybe finally, I don't know if Elon's still there, but this Mar-a-Lago, there is nothing about sitting around. Can you imagine going there? There's a velvet rope around the family, and you're like 9 miles away, and they're over there, and you're, Mr. President. You can't even get it. They showed a picture. Of Don sitting next to the socialite, and it was so grainy, even from that point of view. What is but yet I know people here in New York who would go crazy for a selfie. They live for selfies. I know one guy who, whenever somebody dies, he shows a picture of him. He's kind of in show business. Look, Don Amici, me and, oh, look, I'm with whoever it is. I'm with Tony Bennett. Look, I'm with whoever. I know everybody. See, I was with him. See, I got a picture of him. See. This is where people live today. So you were with a dead person. See, he didn't know you. See, okay, fine. Now, let's talk about the good stuff. In my class, we're going to say, folks, kids, 1962. I'm going to tell you a little story. In 1962, did you see about Bibi's wife? They're investigating Bibi's wife for witness intimidation. Oh, dear God. Johnny Mass says, and just like that, the subway woman story gone. Of course. And just like that, tomorrow, by the way, we're going to be talking about the drone story. Gone. Like I told you, just gone. But don't look at me. I want to still talk about it. We want to, we'll kind of keep it going, but that's okay. By the way, the subway woman story gone in the mainstream media. But let's talk about this. Here is this plane. And this plane lands. And all these people get on it. Oh, it's great. They're going to a soccer game, and they're filling up, and they're waving goodbye. And they take off. And then it lands in Eglin Air Force Base. Immediately, an Air Force base. Out of the watchful eye of people. Drop it in the Air Force Base. And everybody there gets off and go, and that's it. Fight, whatever it is. You saw it take off? Does any of this sound familiar? Flight takes off, and you never see it again. Then they take a drone, they take a plane that's not driven by anybody, and they put the painting on the outside and the decals and the sign, and they fly it out, and they shoot it down, and they blame Russia. Excuse me. Well, maybe the same thing. Cuba. This is 1962. And it shot down an American commercial plane, which is what we did when the Vincennes shut down the Airbus. That is called a false flag. A pretend Gulf of Tonkin, Spanish-American War, remember the Maine? It is absolutely, positively perfect. Do you hear what I'm saying? Does this make any sense to you? Do you hear what I'm saying? It's perfect. And we thought this in 1962. And thank God. Dear God. Thank God that there were people like Bobby Kennedy Jr. and JFK who said, that's enough. That's enough. That's enough. You understand that one? That's enough. Now, what's critical to note, moreover, and this is important to note, is this fascinating story of what happens next and what happens with all the stuff that's going on. And that's interesting. Where are we going with this? Who's going to run the show? Now, let me explain this to you. This is the most important thing in the world. This is the most important thing in the world. And I'm going to try my best to tell you and to bring you up to speed and to make you aware of this. But the thing that we've got to make people understand and grasp is the idea specifically of what's going to happen with the shadow government, what's going to happen with the deep state, what's going to happen with all those people who were there. What's going to happen? Where are they going to go? Where do you think they're going to go? Where do they go? It's one of the most incredibly important and critical issues there is. Where are they going to go? I can't say it enough. What's going to happen? Do you think things are going to get better? Do you think the president's going to be ready to handle this? Do you think he'll be able to deal with this? Do you think he'll be able to have enough people watching out for him? I don't think so. Do you think he understands how it works? I don't think so. Do you think he grasps the notion of this? No. Do you think he's got people like Seb Gorka, that genius, and others are going to be able to sit there and really understand and really advise him accordingly? Do you really think so? I don't know. I'd like to think so, but I don't know. This world is so dirty and so filthy and so horrible and so terrible. It doesn't, and the thing is, I have a feeling that even though we have a new administration, we have the same people watching the show. We need, my friends, to teach them. Do you understand what I'm saying? We need to teach them. We need to teach the folks who live in the world. Understand what I'm saying? Just a second. Just a minute. I'm going to try this again. I'm going to back up and I know nobody wants to talk about this, and there's nobody I can talk to other than Mrs. L. And if I went into any of the 12 Republican clubs, worthless group of people in the New York City area, they wouldn't understand what I'm saying. Do you understand? Do you think, Mr. President, that what is happening with this Azerbaijan flight, what's going on with Putin and others, do you really think that you have the wherewithal to handle this? Do you really think you understand this? It's so dirty, World War I is still felt today. Well, yeah, that was, in fact, if ever there was a perfect analogy, is kind of this. And thank you for that. Mr. President, do you think that Marco Rubio truly is going to be able to say, did you hear what Lavrov said? No. I might have been to kid yourself. Do you understand what Lavrov says? No. Have you ever heard him before? No. You've never heard him. He is so good, so smart, such a genius. I don't know even how to put this into words. Okay? I don't know how to put this into words. Marco Rubio is a putz. You know it. I know it. We all know it. He's an idiot. He's a jadrul. And he's going to try to negotiate Israel, Palestine, Gaza, after what he's done, after he's gone out of his way to basically say, I'm your guy. What kind of a Secretary of State is that? Not mine. Lionel, you should play Ghosts in the Machine. Video is on YouTube. It's to recruit these types of Psy-War soldiers. It's pretty cool too. Well, we need people like that, but that's not what I'm talking about. Psychological war is okay, but does he understand how the world works? He has got to bring in Mearsheimer. He's got to sit in. How do you think baby Marco is going to handle Xi Jinping? He'll eat him alive. Did you ever see Xi Jinping scold Trudeau? Oh my God. Remember what he said? You weren't supposed to say anything about it. Did you see this? It was a scare. And his face never loses. It has no. Mr. President, where do you think the government's going to be 10 years from now, 15 years from now? Where's it going to be? Where's it going to be? Mr. President, as far as the Middle East goes, is it your impression, is it your opinion, Mr. President, that whatever Israel says goes? Is that it? Is it your impression that whatever NATO says goes? Is that it? That whatever Ukraine says goes? Is that it? Tell me. Same thing with you, with UK or whatever it is. Because if that's it, you're making a big mistake. What is your relationship with this? You got a lot of people who believe that if you were to say something against Israeli military policy and foreign policy, that is somehow anti-Semitic. You don't believe that, do you? You don't believe that, do you? Do you believe that people on college campuses should be able to protest our government involvement in things? Do you think so? I do. Are you going to stand up for their rights? Yes or no? Yes or no? What do you think about that? I just don't. I see this, and I guarantee you, if all of a sudden, if you had a meeting at the White House and it was Judge Napolitano, Mearsheimer, Scott Ritter, Jeffrey Sachs, Alistair Crook, I'll be even crazier. Max Blumenthal, Aaron Monte, Katie Halper, Gerald Salenti, whoever. If BB saw a picture of that, he'd pick up the phone and they would raise holy hell. You can't talk to those people. What are you getting at? What are you getting at? That's what we're talking about. Nobody talks to my president like that. And you know, and I know. Now, something tells me in the back of my mind, I think, and I don't know why, but I think Trump will be able to say something like, okay. Don't worry about it. Take care of it. Sparky said Joe Biden had corn pop. Donald Trump has cornflakes, as in Kellogg's cornflakes. A victim of BS intel and MSM fake news. Absolutely. But we'll see. I would hope, Sparky, that believe it or not, somebody along the line tells me that President Trump says, you know what, I'm not going to necessarily give into this, but I'm going to, whatever. Okay. Elon Musk. Greatest thing that ever happened. Elon, something tells me, Elon, when you are the rich, if somebody told you, you are the richest man on the planet, to some people that might do something. Elon could very well want to have as many children as possible to spread his whatever it is. And to say, I like this one and this one and this one, because he can. And I could see him just saying, let me see who's who. If Elon Musk walked over to this new socialite in front of Don Jr. and said, how you doing? And watch him. I've said too much. Johnny Maz the Spaz says, Israel is now going after Yemen. They're on a roll. Well, let me tell you something. You want to do that? You're on your own. You're on your own. Don't look at me. I'm not going to fund this war. No. You are on your own. And by the way, the latest, did you see Sparky and others? Did you see about Sarah Netanyahu? She apparently is under investigation for witness tampering, intimidation, and the like. Let me see. She is. Let me go to news. The news is terrific. Where is it? Well, look at this. Let me tell you what. This is great. I'm going right to X for the first one, just as I tell you. Going right to X. First story. Vivek, he's been kind of quiet, hasn't he? Bless his heart. Vivek, Nikki Haley's been kind of quiet too. Anyway, Vivek Ramaswamy, co-chair of Doge, has stirred controversy by suggesting that tech companies favor hiring foreign-born and first-generation engineers over Native Americans due to cultural factors. This has led to a backlash from conservative commentators and political figures like Nikki Haley, who defends American workers and culture. The debate touches on broader issues of immigration, job allocation, and cultural perceptions within the tech industry. I do not know. This is very interesting. Let's see what he has to say. The reason top tech companies often hire foreign-born and first-generation engineers over Native American isn't because of an innate American IQ deficit, a lazy and wrong explanation. A key part of it comes down to the C word, culture. Tough questions demand tough answers, and if we're really serious about fixing the problem, we have to confront the truth. I'm with him on that. Our American culture has venerated mediocrity over excellence for way too long, at least since the 90s, he says. That doesn't start in college, it starts young. A culture that celebrates the prom queen over the math Olympiad champ or the jock over the valedictorian will not produce the best engineers. 100% correct. A culture that venerates Corey from Boy Meets World or Zach and Slater over Screech and Saved by the Bell or Stefan or Steve Urkel in Family Matters will not produce the best engineers. Fact, I know multiple sets of immigrant parents in the 90s who actively limited how much their kids could watch TV shows precisely because they promoted mediocrity, and their kids went on to become wildly successful STEM graduates. Move over movies like Whiplash. He's absolutely correct. Do you believe this? This makes sense to you? What do you think about that? I'm 100% correct. American culture sucks. American culture, the way we are raised, what we are looked to, sucks. How many times do I rail against this? How many times do I rail against the incuriosity of my fellow Americans? Over and over and over again. Now, granted, he might not like this. It may not be something you want to hear about, but it's a God's honest truth. Now, the only thing I want to tell Vivek is the following. That's okay for Americans. Are you going to talk about black folks as well? Are you? Are you, my man? Are you? Are you? You want to talk about that? You want to talk about that? Because I'm with him on that. Americans, we suck. Because we've always had it. We are fat and stupid and dumb, and we lowered the standards, and we had DEI and CRT and this, and we just make whatever you want, whatever makes you feel good. We give out trophies to people to make them feel better. Sparky says Sultan Erdogan needs to flood Syria with the Turkish army before U.S. figures out how to stop him. They may be the only chance for Syria to pull back from being the next Libya. And you know, Sparky, that of course people think that he's a bad guy, right? He's a bad guy. That Bashar al-Assad is a bad guy. He's a terrible guy. Really. Ask Claire, what's her name? I like this story. I like this. I like this 100%. You got to ask yourself this question, and this really pisses people off. This could be our Sputnik moment. We've awakened from slumber before. We can do it again. Trump's election hopefully marks the beginning of a new golden era in America, but only if our culture fully wakes up. A culture that once again prioritizes achievement over normalcy, excellence over mediocrity, nerdiness over conformity, hard work over laziness. That's the work we have cut out for us, rather than wallowing in victimhood and just wishing or legislating alternative hiring practices. He's 100% correct, and I think that's great. And if you don't like it, the hell with you. Sometimes it hurts. It absolutely hurts. Because in this country, we don't like anything different. We live in a country, how many times do I sit there and I tell you, did you look this up? No. Even in adults, it's not just kids. We don't. I talk to people all the time. I don't know. Hey, what's that word mean? What's that word mean? Well, look it up. I don't look anything up. I'm not interested. Nothing. I have no interest. Listen to what people say about something as simple as diet, and they make stuff up. They think, and the best part is they think they know about diet and protein and LDL. They'll watch a video. They'll go paleo for 2 days. Name it. Kettlebell one day, rope cables the other. It doesn't matter. We're a country more interested in anxiety medication and getting our tats than really understanding what's happened. We don't care about smart people in this country. Carolina Guy says, I want to thank everyone and Lionel for their thoughts and prayers from the other night when my dog and best friend passed away. Thank you. Well, Caroline, I'm glad we could be here for you, buddy boy, because you need it. Because dogs, now you talk about pure joy. They are incredible. Pure, absolute joy. Let me tell you something else. Look at the way we teach girls. Do we really go out of our way to teach girls to be smart? Nope. Iran will be the next to create their own currency. America, if you work for American mainstream media, Iran funds everything. It fuels everything. You understand what I'm saying? America fuels everything. Or Iran, rather, excuse me. Everything. Hezbollah, everything. Everything it does. Everything. Everything. It's one of the most important things in the world. Absolutely. The most important thing there is. Hang on a minute. Had a great show tonight, by the way, on Sean Atwood's about the latest regarding Diddy. You don't care about that, but just a minute. I'm convinced right now, and I mean this. Did I get the cornflake singular reference to General Kellogg? Yep, you skipped the word general. I sure did. Thank you. I got it, my friend. Thank you. I appreciate that. You and me and a dog named Boo, my friend. Yeah, I want to go back to something else about women. You know, I mentioned this girl, this young lady, Kai Trump. She's a great golfer. Okay. Trump always talks about his son. His son's tall. Is he smart? Is he smart? But he's tall. Okay, I know he's tall. Look how tall he is. Okay, I got that. That's pretty obvious. Is he smart? I don't know. I would be. I don't know the way why we're, and maybe kids do it, whatever. But little girls today, especially because of, God bless, the role of social media, they want to be sexy and hot. They're not interested in any kind of being smart. I don't get this. I told you recently I go through these circular things. I go through these trends, and there's a physicist named Angela Collier, and she wrote this great. She does physics, and she did this one piece, which is the most important, about sexual harassment in graduate school, and how we need to use STEM and other kind of programs to go after and to encourage young girls. I guess it's redundant, to go into physics. Do you know anybody like that? No? Do you? No. You know anybody's into physics? No? Anybody's in? No? No? What are we talking about? Do we need college? Most people don't need college. I always tell people, Americans don't need college. It's a waste of time. In America, we don't need it because Americans are culturally oafish. They don't know anything. They don't read anything. They don't care about anything. So do we need college? No, not really. Not for what you're going to need. Are there people who are going to go out there who understand the notion of the budget? No. Stop it. No. You know, years ago, there was a study. They said, why do, is it AFAM or what the hell is it called? AFAM or some shit. Anyway, they asked the question, why is it that China has these places to buy, to produce these phones? And they said, we want to go into a place where we want to have, do you have 250,000 employees? Yes. Do you have 50 to 70,000 mid-level masters and PhDs. Yes. You name it, they have it. Do we have it here? No. No. Don't get me started on this. We have a country that doesn't care about intelligence, but they do care about how you do in sports. Sparky says Iran didn't fuel Hamas. Hamas was fueled by Israel with suitcases full of cash and the U.S. via Qatar. Sparky, you and I know where this came from and how Hamas was devised and created as a bulwark against as a religious or a kind of a clerical version, a counterbalance to Fatah and to Yasser Arafat. And there was this crazy idea that, well, if we create this, remember during Afghans will push the Northern Allies, the Mujahideen, will push them, and then they're going to go against the Russians. So we're going to push them, give all of them this weapon system, and then what happens later on when they turn against us? Oh, they're not going to turn against us. That's American foreign policy. That's American foreign policy. You see, but Sparky, how do you do this? This is the simplest thing. If you don't understand even just the idea of where things are, it doesn't help. We don't even teach geography. They have these things in New York. The High School for Special Talent, the High School for Theater, the High School for Beauty. But I don't know what the hell it is. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? I mean, we don't... Look, it's not that everybody's got to do this. We have no appreciation for it. Vivek Ramaswamy is correct. We don't care about this. In our class, it was the most stupid thing. Even in my high school, I spoke one time before them, and they didn't particularly care for this. I said, we have this thing called the Jesuit Hall of Fame, and they were always sports stars. Who gives a damn who was a shot put champion in 1968? Nobody cares about this. But who of us went on to? I think one guy was involved in kind of organ transplantation or something. Who were the real accomplished people? I don't understand this. And the first thing I want to go into is I want to explain, I think as Sparky is saying as well, is that you have to know that the story that you are being given is a lie. It is a lie. It is a consummate lie. That's why Operation Northwoods is critical. That's why I want people to understand how your government lied. Understand Ajax. Go back even more, Sparky. Go back. Go back to Kermit Roosevelt. Go back to oh my God. Go back to these great and horrible people. Kermit Roosevelt, when Mossadegh. Remember what we did to Iran. Remember this. We thought we could go up and F with them and stick our thumb in their eye. And we're going to put this guy in and we're going to put the Shah. The Shah didn't even want to go back. The Shah wanted to be a playboy in Paris. He goes, you're going to do this because of our oil. You're going to do this. We're going to upend this. If you don't understand that part about American history, you're wasting your time. Who's going to tell them? Marco Rubio? Marco Rubio? This is the part that I just... So Vivek is 100% correct. Let me go back to the new rules or the new stories. I like these very, very much. I like this. O'Leary eyes economic union. For some reason, Kevin O'Leary, a prominent Canadian businessman, who in the hell from Shark Tank, has expressed interest in discussing economic collaboration between Canada and the U.S. He mentioned his plan to travel to Mar-a-Lago. Well, I don't know. To potentially discuss these ideas with President Trump. And Trump will give him a lot of attention because he's on TV. He looks a lot like Barry Diller. You notice this? They're almost identical. While some interpret this as a move towards a formal economic union, including common currency and open borders, such specifics were not confirmed by O'Leary. What is this about? It's about O'Leary. It's about him. It's about putting him on top. You understand this? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the latest one too. Mysterious drone sightings have been reported across New Jersey, capturing, wait a minute, public interest in an official response. The FAA has confirmed that these drones were not flying within New Jersey's flight path. Local authorities, including the Ocean County Sheriff's Office, have been actively looking into these sightings, but the source of the drones remains undisclosed, with investigations ongoing. And these are some good-looking pictures of these drones. Look at these things. They are flying around, big orbs and that kind of stuff. Yeah. Looks really fascinating, isn't it? Yep. Remember, that's just to play with you. The legal story, Hannity and Earhart engagement, good. Congratulations, good for you. Tech hiring and culture. Oh, you got the Vivek. Musk's push for elite engineering immigrants. Oh, I love this. Elon Musk has sparked a debate advocating U.S. to increase legal immigration specifically for elite engineering talent. But they can't leave here once we teach them. You know what I mean? Well, actually, they've already learned the things, but remember, we're the only country that educates Chinese, makes them brilliant, and then sends them off. Now, emphasizing a dire shortage of such skills necessary for American technological advancement. His comments have led to a range of reactions, from support for high-skilled immigration to criticism from those concerned with the broader immigration policies and the displacement of American workers. The discussion comes amidst existing dialogues about the H-1B visa program. Let me tell you something. This is the most important thing in the world. Workers are great and all that stuff, but they've got to be able to do the job in the first place. You understand what I'm saying? I don't want them necessarily, how do I say this? I don't want them, there's no way to give an American a job in high tech unless they know high tech. Dan Crenshaw threatens legal action against Cat Turd. Wait a minute. Cat Turd's a good friend of mine. Congressman Dan Crenshaw has publicly accused Cat Turd, a social media influencer with a large following, of spreading disinformation about him, leading to threats of legal action. The dispute arose from posts where Cat Turd criticized Crenshaw, prompting a response from Crenshaw on X. The situation was escalated with comments from both supporters of Cat Turd and those defending Crenshaw's actions, highlighting tensions regarding the political discourse. Oh, come on. My money on Cat Turd, 100%. Period. Whatever he says goes with me. Elon, Mars as the new world. Let me see this. I'm going to go back. And he goes, so much good stuff. And it changes. It changes drastically. A little bit on Gaza airstrike. Trump's Diet Coke button. That's nice. By the way, I would stay away from Diet Coke. I would stay away from Diet Coke. I would stay away from all diet drinks. Do you hear me? Stay away from all diet drinks. Stay away. Stay away. Stay away. Stay away. And it's not what you think. It's not aspartame necessarily. It's the fact that it affects gut flora and a variety of other things too. You really would be much, much better off doing that. But then again, it's a free country. You can do whatever you want. And I'm sure you're going to be reading something that somebody's going to put out tomorrow. Some paleo guy is going to say, oh no, in fact, I drink Coke and it's great and whatever it is. And I can't tell you what to think. I never knew so many people who sat back on their haunches and came up with so much expertise in terms of anything like diet. I never thought it possible. I was trying to explain. I said, protein is not from animal tissue only. What? Protein is not from. What are you talking about? I said, go to any, they had no idea. Remember years ago, there was a story about the tomato. The tomato was considered to be poison. And I believe it was on the front step of a courthouse in New Jersey or something, 18th, 19th century. Somebody took a bite of it and they thought it was poison. And they were afraid of the tomato. And history was made thenceforth. Sparky says CIA does regime change like they did with Iran back in the 50s to this day. They did Pakistan and Bangladesh, formerly East Pakistan, recently, and have many would-be regime change attempts in progress. Oh, absolutely. And by the way, it's not going to be called the CIA, Sparky. It's going to be called something else. Christo says, Merry Christmas, L. Mrs. L, love yous immensely. Brother man, the sugar man, thank you, Christos. Oh, I agree with you. But you see, Sparky, I'm going to put you in my new administration. And I want you to go out to explain to the world why this is a problem. And watch people who will tell you, well, what's the problem? Regime change. Uh-huh. Do you think, and I his name is in my top of my mind. Do you think that if you went on the Sean Hannity show, that regime change would be considered objectionable? Do you think that they think that it is objectionable? Who are the bad guys? Do people in Gaza have the right to vote for, to prefer Hamas? That, of course, as Sparky said, Israel created, which is true. Do they have that right? Do they have that right? I'll never forget. Well, Iran is a proxy war, whatever. What do you think Iran is about? How do you explain the Persian mentality? Why haven't they fought back? Andrew says, missed my chat. Well, you know what? One of the reasons why is because it was so disgusting. And I was afraid that children might see it, Andrew, and I was afraid, but I'm going to read it anyway. I'm going to do my best. Women are smart. They already are 2 steps ahead of males all the time. False flag, easy to figure out because it follows the same steps male created. A woman created false, then we would be confused. It's very interesting. Not sure what that means, but I'm very sure. I do believe that, and I appreciate immensely what you were saying, but I do not necessarily think that women are better, worse, whatever it is, by virtue of chromosomes or whatever. I do believe that women are either tacitly or overtly told to stay away from science and intellectual heavy lifting. They are told that women will say, I'm dumb at math. We don't push them. There's no particular reason why women are just as smart, if not smarter. I'm sorry. In fact, if you look, there might be some differences, but not that great. Sparky says, no, because although a hard worker, Sean is as dumb as a stump. He used to be in Atlanta. Well, yes. I will tell you this much. Sparky, you do not have to be smart. You do not have to be smart. And people who are smart are not necessarily smart. There are people like Ted Kaczynski. You know this fellow that we taught, this guy, Luigi, by the way, never pronounce his last name correctly. Mangiolino. I would always say his name incorrectly to drive him crazy. Ted Kaczynski was one of these people. They said he was a genius. He was so gifted. He skipped 2 grades and went to Harvard at 3. Okay, fine. Did you ever read his manifesto? It's the biggest bunch of gobbledygook I've ever seen in my life. It's nonsense. It's crazy, but he's a genius. There are people who are incredibly genius, who are provided with genius in terms of certain STEM and whatever, certain things. And they are, for all practical purposes, not very practical in real life. Some are, some aren't. There are people that I know who are musical geniuses. There are people that I know who have an ability and an acuity to pick up songs and to play music in ways that I don't think anybody can even understand or put into context. And they are absolute geniuses. Geniuses like I've never seen. Geniuses that you cannot believe. I've seen this before. But yet, they may have long hair. Rick Beato recently had some young guitar players who played in a way I've never even thought possible. There are people who came along in the world. Jaco Pastorius changed electric bass. And before that, Bootsy Collins. And before that, Stanley Clark. And before that, James Jamerson. This is just the electric bass. Louis Johnson and others. And Larry Graham and Paul McCartney. There are people who showed a genius. Yet to look at them, they didn't say anything that great. They didn't, Frank Sinatra had a genius for singing certain stylings that absolutely. Now it was a slug of a human being, a pig. He was a horrible human being, but was a genius. Do we call him a genius? No. We use that kind of word loosely, but what he did, the proficiency that he showed was greater than that Ted Kaczynski showed at math or whatever it was. Sorry. Did Ted Kaczynski change the world? No. Did he do anything? No, not really. Frank Sinatra did. Frank Sinatra changed everything. Frank Sinatra was a monster. But Ted Kaczynski is called a genius. So the word is, we got to get rid of that. But Vivek Ramaswamy is 100% correct. 100% correct. And I want to leave you with one thing, and we'll talk about this tomorrow. And this is incredible. This is credible, rather. There is this thing where we are played like puppets. Puppets. Where we're turn off, turn on. Here's a story. We're done. Here's a woman in the subway. Oh, it's terrible. We're done. Here's the drone. We're done. Okay. And we just sit there and we show interest for 2 or 3 days, and then we forget everything. That has to change immediately. That has to change immediately. So, Sparky, my dear friend, excellent limpidity, pellucid comments and the like. Andrew Hessing, Crystal Stavru, Sugarman, we love you. Pilgrim Media, thank you as well. JTE, Carolina Guy. Again, our condolences for the loss of your beloved friend, your pet, your dog, your pal, your soulmate. Johnny Mazza-Spaz, thank you. And that's it. My friends, don't forget to follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. Oh, Sparky's back. Sparky says, I can't deny Sean's success. I was just pointing out why he wouldn't get the regime change leads to instability. We had one in U.S. in 2020. Focus and hard work means a lot. Success in one thing, Herschel Walker was very successful in football, but I think he's a cretin in other aspects of life. So just because somebody's successful in one thing, and by the way, being not successful in something doesn't mean you're not smart or vice versa or whatever it is. So, no, I'm never talking about success, but the ability, and by the way, one of the reasons for success is recognizing that his audience will not be able to appreciate the little idiosyncratic differences and nuances of the particular items and issues that we have discussed. All right, dear friends, thank you so much. Have a great and a glorious day. See you tomorrow in the morning, 9 o'clock. Until then, remember, my friends, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.